getting into that, I will go into my high-low. So, high. The frame story, the story within the story of the bandit and his clan. It's something unique, something for you adults. That being said, it is more like an adult fairy tale. It's probably not for the littlest ones because, just to give you a heads up, not all fairy tales end with happily ever after. Just keep that in mind. But you adults, you're going to like this. You're going to like the story that's in that story. The big low. There is a 15-second part in this movie that's really artsy-fartsy, and it just doesn't belong. It's at the end, and they have to deal with puppets and dolls. It's just so out of place. But I know why it's needed, and you'll figure out why it's needed. But it just felt out of place. But again, it's only 15 seconds. If it wasn't for that 15 seconds, this movie would be almost just perfect. A high. The dual roles. Almost all the bandits and all the people in the fantasy world play another role in the real world. But that's what's so fun. You get to figure out, okay, who's that in the fantasy world? Or who's in the fantasy world? Where are they putting it? Because sometimes the fantasy characters are not that big of a role in the real life world. So that's kind of fun. That's really a fun game to play. Low. This is the biggest low I can come up with for this film, and it's one of my biggest pet peeve. This movie is rated R. There's no sense why this movie is rated R. MPAA ratings, I could go off 20 minutes just on them, and my distaste for MPAA ratings. But there's no sense this movie should be rated R. Anyone that's 11, 12 could watch this film with no guff about it. I spent myself 2 weeks trying to figure out why is this rated R. I actually wrote production companies. I contacted movie critics. I searched online, and finally I came up with the answer. And this isn't a spoiler, but I'm going to tell you why it's rated R. So don't worry about this. Lee Pace, his character Roy, is in the hospital, right? He has a handful of medicine. He's in a lot of pain, so he decides to take a lot more than he should. Unfortunately, with this handful of pills, Alexandria is right next to him, and he takes this medication. Drug use in front of a minor made this R. There's no sense why it should be R. Yes, there's a little bit of blood, a little bit of violence, but nothing like you would see on a TV show during the week. Like I said, most 11 and 12-year-olds could handle this film, but because of that drug part right there in the middle of the film, it's rated R. I'm going to give you just a little bit of a spoiler, so fast forward 10 seconds if you don't want to hear about this. This movie does deal with death and suicide, a story about suicide. So it's definitely not meant for the little ones. So that's a little heads up for all y'all. No, some people like that word. The DVD itself is filled with wonderful special features, just like the story I told you of how they had Lee Pace on wheelchair for 3 months, how they came up with the story, where they filmed and how they filmed, how they got the certain angles, and all the little fun things they did with Katinka on the set. That's one of the fun things. And then they have the commentary between the director and the producers, and then they also have a couple of the actors, so they have 2 commentaries, so you can listen to both of those. And it's just fun to see the excitement in these people's faces about productions and everything. But of course, they do have some deleted scenes, and they also show some bloopers. those are my two favorite things about DVDs: deleted scenes and bloopers. If you've got those, you've got my money for the DVD. The one big drawback about the DVD, though, is it doesn't have a trailer onto it. So I'm going to link to the sidebar there to the trailer, and I want you to go to see this. After you see the trailer and you see what I'm talking about, the amazing colors and the music and everything, I want you to go out and rent this. And I want you guys to tell me your opinions on this. Am I the only one that finds this movie that amazing? Most people I've showed this to, they think it's amazing. I know there's a few people out there who will disagree with me, but yeah, that's the great thing about having opinions. This is one of the most perfect produced films I've ever seen. Between the story, the production, the lighting, the blocking, the cinematography, the direction, the characters, it is almost as perfect as a Hollywood picture can get, especially with such an extremely low budget. So, like I said, you could just see the passion I have for this movie. It's in the top 3 movies of all time for me. And honestly, watching it again this week, it probably is my favorite movie of all time. Again, I want to hear you guys' opinion about this. So let me know what you think. So until next time, I will see you at the movies. Bye-bye.